In the winter of 208 AD, a fleet of warships stretches across the Yangtze River as far as the eye can see. There are so many that their commander has ordered them chained together. Hull to hull, bow to stern, creating a floating fortress 2 miles wide. It is the largest naval force ever assembled in Chinese history. And in about 6 hours, every single ship will be on fire. The man who chained them together is Cao Cao, the tyrant. He has already conquered the entire north of China. He commands 800,000 soldiers. He has never lost a war that mattered. And tonight, a 26-year-old admiral and a wandering scholar with a feather fan are about to burn his dream of empire to ashes. This is the Battle of Red Cliffs. It is the most famous battle in all of Asian history. It decided the fate of 60 million people. And it was won not by the largest army, but by the direction of the wind. To understand Red Cliffs, you need to understand the man who made it necessary. By 200 AD, the Han Dynasty. The empire we built across our last 3 episodes is a corpse. The emperor is a puppet. Warlords rule every province. And one man is systematically eating all the others. Cao Cao, a poot, a military genius, and a butcher. He once massacred an entire city because its governor insulted him. He executed his own advisor for being too popular. When someone asked if he would rather betray the world or let the world betray him, he said, "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me." That one sentence tells you everything. By 208 AD, Cao Cao controls everything north of the Yangtze River. He has crushed every rival. The last emperor signed over his army, his treasury, and his seal. In everything but name, Cao Cao is the ruler of China. But 2 men in the south refuse to kneel. Zhou Yu, the admiral, 26 years old, classically trained in music and warfare, and the commander of the southern kingdom of Wu's navy. He is brilliant, proud, and absolutely certain he can win a fight that every mathematician says he should lose. His fleet has 30,000 men. Cao Cao has 800,000. And then there is Zhuge Liang, the wizard, a farmer's son who spent years reading in a mountain hut, waiting for someone worthy to come find him. When a desperate warlord visited him 3 times in the snow, Zhuge Liang finally opened his door and laid out a plan to divide China into 3 kingdoms. He is 27 years old. He carries a white feather fan. And he sees the future like other men see the weather. Cao Cao marches south with the largest army China has ever seen. City after city surrenders without a fight. The southern kingdoms panic. Every advisor says the same thing. Submit. Bend the knee. Resistance is suicide. Zhou Yu stands up in a room full of cowards and draws his sword. He slashes his own desk in half and says, "The next person who suggests surrender will look like this table." But courage alone cannot defeat 20-to-1 odds. Cao Cao's army has one weakness, and Zhuge Liang has already found it. They are northerners, horse riders, plains fighters. They have never fought on water. On the Yangtze, Cao Cao's cavalry is useless. His soldiers get seasick. His generals cannot read the river currents. To solve the seasickness problem, Cao Cao orders his ships chained together. Iron links connecting hundreds of vessels into one massive floating platform. Brilliant, his generals say. No more rocking. The soldiers can fight as if on solid ground. But Zhou Yu hears about the chains and smiles. Because chains don't just stop rocking. Chains stop ships from running away. The plan is insane. Zhou Yu will send a squadron of ships packed with dry straw, fish oil, and sulfur directly into Cao Cao's chained fleet. At the last moment, the crews will light them on fire and jump overboard. Floating bombs. But it only works if the wind blows from the southeast, pushing the fire ships directly into Cao Cao's line. In winter, the wind on the Yangtze blows from the northwest. The wrong direction. Every single time. The night before the battle, Zhuge Liang walks to a makeshift altar on the riverbank. What happens next depends on who you believe. The historians say he simply read the weather. That a rare winter warm front was pushing southeast winds up the river valley. The legends say he performed a 3-day ritual, burning incense and chanting prayers to borrow the east wind from heaven itself. What we know for certain is this. On the night of the battle, the wind changes. For the first time in weeks, it blows hard from the southeast. Directly into Cao Cao's chained fleet. Zhou Yu gives the signal. The fire ships launch. Cao Cao sees them coming. Small boats, moving fast, riding the wind. At first he thinks they are deserters switching sides. It happens every day in war. Then he sees the smoke. Then he sees the orange glow spreading across each hull. Then he understands. But his ships are chained together. They cannot move. They cannot separate. They cannot run. The first fire ship strikes. Flames leap from hull to hull along the chains. The iron links that were supposed to keep the fleet stable now feed the inferno. Fire racing along them like fuses on a bomb. Within minutes, the entire river is burning. The water itself seems to catch fire. Soldiers jump overboard and drown. Soldiers stay on deck and burn. There is nowhere to go. The greatest fleet in Chinese history becomes the greatest funeral pyre. Cao Cao watches from the north bank as everything burns. His army, his fleet, his dream of unifying China. The fire is so massive, it lights up both banks of the Yangtze for miles. Ash falls like black snow. He orders a retreat through the only road north. A narrow, muddy track called Huarong Trail. It rains. The road turns to swamp. Thousands of soldiers drown in the mud. Red Cliffs destroys Cao Cao's chance at total conquest. China splits into 3 kingdoms. Wei in the north, Shu in the west, Wu in the east. 3 kings, 3 armies, 3 capitals. For the next 60 years, they will scheme, betray, and slaughter each other in what the Chinese call the romance of the 3 kingdoms. The most beloved story in all of Asian literature. Cao Cao survives. He rules the north for another 12 years, writing poetry about the futility of ambition while planning his next invasion. He never takes the south. He dies in 220 AD, haunted by the ghosts of everyone he killed, convinced that his headaches are punishments from heaven. His son declares himself emperor the same year. The Han dynasty is officially dead. Zhuge Liang spends the next 27 years trying to reunify China from the west. He fails. He dies on a military campaign, exhausted, at age 53. His last words are about the kingdom he could not save. 2,000 years later, he is still the most admired mind in Chinese history. The man who borrowed the wind. But empires do not stay divided forever. 700 years after Red Cliffs, a woman will sit behind a silk curtain and rule the most powerful civilization on Earth. She will murder her own children. She will rewrite the laws of heaven. And she will become the only female emperor in 3,000 years of Chinese history. Subscribe now. Her story is next.